I'm Monica Price and welcome to CuppaTV. Joining me today is a young man who calls himself King of Talentless and the vainest man in Britain and has spent thousands of pounds on plastic surgery. It can only be Sam Barton. But joining me on the sofa first, we've got Adam O'Connor, a freelance composer who composes music for film, television and festivals around the world. He's based here in the West Midlands and he's here to share his story today. So first of all, I'm joined by my first guest, Adam O'Connor. Adam, thank you so much. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure.
Lovely to have you here. Before we talk about your CDs that are on the table there. So Adam, tell us, you're a freelance composer.
Yep, I make music for film, TV. So that's really what film composing is all about.
Fantastic.
Some of the CDs there are some of the albums I've done. But before that, I started as a rock musician.
Oh, tell us about that. So when was your, start at the very beginning, Adam. So where did you start? Your love of music, was that from a child or?
I didn't really get into music until I was about 17, I think, when all my mates started playing guitar. Started wanting to play some crazy solos, as every young guitarist wants to do. Mainly, though, I got into it just because my brothers were into it, and I just felt if they can play guitar, I must be able to play guitar as well. So, and I must be better than them. That was the whole idea. But I moved on from that, and then during university, I started getting into more about creating my own music rather than just playing other people's music.
Was that always a passion of yours, to create your own music?
Yeah, I think to start with, it was a competition with my brothers, and then it was more about, well, what can I do with this? You know, I want to be a bit more creative than just play some stuff, and you know, I want to do something for myself, create something that I've done, and show other people what I can do.
Did you start on a keyboard? Because quite a lot of composers have a keyboard, don't they, and start that way. Did you start that way, or? No,
I mean, I tried playing piano years ago, but I was not great at it. I've learned a bit more now, but as a guitarist, you don't really need to read music. You don't need to learn all these extra things. Sheet music is just not really necessary. You've got tab, so it makes it a lot easier to learn. And I was quite lazy at the time, so that made it a lot easier to choose that.
For you. Yeah. And did you find when you started composing your music, did you find that was your passion? Because I know you play instruments. And it was
definitely, I found that I enjoyed it a lot more doing that. Don't get me wrong, I liked performing as well. I mean, there's a great buzz when you're on stage, you know, jumping around, playing some rock music. But for me, composition was, I felt comfortable doing it a little more than I was on the stage. Whereas my brothers, I think, more to do with, here's the limelight, I'm here.
And you've had some amazing things, though. I mean, tell us, your music's gone across the world, in fact.
Yeah, I keep getting some random information that I've had my thing played on a cruise ship, as the songs played here, there and everywhere. I'm like,
that's great.
It's crazy. I don't even know how they got the music.
Yeah, I was going to say, how does that work? Do they notify you? Or?
Yeah, I get notified that where it's been played, how many times it's been played and stuff. And it's just, it was crazy because we didn't really push the release of the first album we did, and all of a sudden it was on radio, BBC Radio 2, and you know, being played in people's coffee shops and things. And I didn't even know really how they found the music. I mean, this day and age, you've got so many artists creating their own music. You can have a home studio for, you know, a small budget. You can record in your bedroom, and it's good enough quality to release. You can just buy for like £20. You can release an album on iTunes and Amazon.
It's certainly moved on, isn't it?
Yeah, it's much more competitive.
And are they jingles? What they call jingles? Is it pieces that you've done as well as doing? Because you've done some video work, haven't you? Yeah,
I've done a couple of pieces for TV, like intro, title music. They're only short, like 9 seconds, like you say, and jingle kind of things. Yeah, I've done that most recently. I've been doing that. I do also compose like full, like scores for kind of film and things like that. And that's kind of an interesting thing because people go, well, hang on, you say you don't read music, how can you compose things with full orchestra sections?
Interesting question. Yeah, that's right.
And it's one of those things that I think this is where certain perspectives have moved on a little bit, because computers have aided production, and nowadays you can write without having to read music. Something known as piano roll.
What's that? Explain that.
It's when you use a sequencer and you've got a piano and it shows as it plays along, you can put the keys and they just look like blocks on there, and I can read. That's how I read the music.
That's how you read it.
It's something that Hans Zimmer, a really famous composer, who does you've probably heard of him.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
Have,
and his musical notation skills are not great, but he can see exactly what he's looking at on a screen and go, I want it there. This is how. And he composes a lot that way rather than normal notation.
And what kind of inspires you, though, Adam? Where do you get your inspiration from for your music?
For me, it's when watching. I'm a big lover of film. I watch films so often. It's insane. But when I go into a film and I'm watching it, the emotion of a scene comes from the music more than anything else. And when I'm in there, I get into the music just as much as I get into the scene of the film, what's going on in there.
I think that can be said for some really, I mean, you only got to think of Jaws, for instance.
Yep, Jaws.
Just that one clip of music, and everybody, you'd only have to play that music, wouldn't you? And
exactly, everyone knows
that came from that movie.
Yeah.
Is that what you would like to have
That's
one
obviously
day?
the aim, and
Yes.
you know, if I could, that'd be fantastic. But you know, it's a tough.
Is it tough? Is it tough?
It's a very tough industry. There's a lot of people doing it, like I said now.
And do you necessarily need to be in the UK, or do you feel you have to go to America?
You don't have to be in America to do it. There's plenty of avenues to go. Thing is, with music, you can compose and send it, and they send the video to you. Obviously, for film, if you want to do Hollywood stuff, you know, you've got to go there. Yeah, you've got to be there. You've got to be talking with the directors, the people, you know, and with the editors, and looking at the stuff that you're writing for. So it's not so easy to do that from abroad. But there's plenty of opportunities for TV, for even English film houses, productions.
Incredible.
So
tell us about your band then. So we've got some CDs here today.
Okay,
so that's your band. So is that 7 Days Late? Is that
yeah,
your band's name?
that was the second one. Yeah. So we started with Cartesian. That's the one that had one big song on it, Running Away, that was played around the world. We then, same band, moved on to a different name because we wanted to change the kind of music we were doing. It was a lot softer.
That's a good name, 7 Days Late.
Yeah, we wanted to do a rockier, punkier sound. So we moved on to that, so we could probably do both at the same time. And that was when we decided we want to do some music videos, and so we thought, rock, kind of punky rock, we're crazy, let's see what we can do. Let's go to Vegas and film the music. Yeah,
let's go to Vegas.
It seemed like a good idea.
Quite right.
it was a good time, you know. It's a crazy holiday video. So.
And did you get a record deal or anything from it?
No, I mean, we were briefly in talks with Sony, and we did get an offer from some smaller indie labels, but for the smaller indie labels, we weren't sure that they were going to do much for us, so we wanted to do more management of our own, you know.
That's quite important to you.
Yeah, and even if you get signed by the big labels these days, you've got to do a lot yourself, and we just didn't feel we were established enough that if they took us on, we'd probably just get shelved anyway. We'd still have to do the work ourselves.
It's a tough industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you feel it is tough? Is it a tough
It is
industry?
tough. I think it's always been tough, and I think it's always been one that if you're lucky and you're in the right place at the right time, okay. Otherwise, you could work at it, and eventually you might do okay. And I think back in the day, I think if you worked at it a little bit harder, you probably do quite well. These days, though, there's so many avenues. People, YouTube and SoundCloud.
Is that beneficial, do you think, for the music industry, or is that actually a detriment to the music industry?
I think for people's creativity and the variation of music, I think it's great. I think for the times when YouTube can make you like a star. It's few and far between now. It's not the same as, say, you know, Arctic Monkeys. They put a CD here and then all of a sudden it started to spread, YouTube and things. Those days are gone a little bit because so many people are doing it. There's thousands of videos going on every hour. It's hard to be found.
So what's the future for you, Adam?
Future for me, I'm going to still continue to compose and just pitch for different shows, different ideas.
Are you working on anything particular at the moment?
I'm writing stuff for a few little things.
Excellent.
Just shows.
Well, you'll have to come back on to the show.
Yeah, when I've done them,
tell us, when you finish
them,
tell us what you're doing, and then come back and share the story. But it's been wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on today.
No problem.
It's been a pleasure
Fantastic.
to meet you.
I've enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break now, so come back and join us after the break.